So then just carrying on, like, you start off, it's your first day, it's day one, and you're expected to know everything, and then they've thrown you off to begin with. They know the run of the place, they know how everything works, and this girl that I was working with, she had to count the cash, so that meant that I had to serve customers, and I didn't know the till worked. I had to learn as I was going, you know what I mean? I was kind of hoping to be shown as I went along, and one thing I'll say is don't assume that any job will be less stressful than your previous one. Wait and see, because unfortunately it seems to be the case a lot of times where it's badly run. A lot of places are badly run, I'll just say, and that's not just me, that's a lot of people who are saying that. They say that they don't get the proper training, they never get the proper training, you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what job you're in, you don't seem to get the proper training, which is terrible, but it seems to be the norm nowadays. And you know why that is? Because people are looking to get productivity, they're looking to get you in as fast as possible, train you up without spending as much money, do the bare minimum amount of spending. That's why they get contractors in, so you've got no benefits in that job either. They can just fuck you out whenever they want. And what I found is a lot of places make it out like it's a mutual problem when you have a problem with somebody else. So I was talking about issues that I had in the workplace, and there was this one that just kept giving me shit, you know what I mean? And she just wouldn't piss off. She kept on saying to me, "Oh, you're here long enough, you should know that. Jeez, Dan, for fuck's sake." And you know what I did most of the time was I was doing something. I was busy. I was in a cafe, so it's always busy. You're always on your feet. You're always either taking an order, you're serving someone, you're making food, or you're making coffee or something, or you're cleaning stuff. And I didn't have a fucking moment. I was as depressed as I've ever been. So I didn't have the fucking energy half the time to argue with her. I was like, oh, right, whatever. I'd huff and I'd go, fuck off. Sometimes I'd say, oh, fuck off. But I didn't have the energy to fight with her, honestly. And then a couple of times I said something back to her, and then I said, I've autism, like I've told you this. What is, I said Asperger's, and she didn't know what that was. What is that? Is that a type of autism? What really annoyed me about this one is when we were doing training for dealing with a disabled customer, she was like, oh, if I saw that I'd be I'd be fucking outraged. But then, like, you're dealing with a fucking employee who has a disability, and you're just like giving me grief. And then when I start calling her out on it, you know what she did? She'd call me into the room before we started our shift and say, look, whatever happens today, it's not personal, okay? As if that gives you a free pass to say whatever the fuck you want to me. It's not fucking on. I don't care. I'd be like, alright, yeah.